Everything changes as soon as you walk in, not because you demand attention, but because your presence exudes a force that cannot be ignored. You do not seek the spotlight. It was already there, waiting for someone like you to walk into it. And here you are, not with loudness or theatrics, but with a palpable energy that changes the whole environment. They don't just see you, they empathize. It's the peaceful confidence, easy brilliance, and unshakable, knowing that you belong wherever you decide to stand. You don't need to prove yourself. You do not have to proclaim your value. How you move, the manner in which you own your place, how you hold yourself, it speaks louder than words can. This is not simply another day or event. It's a new age, and you're entirely committed. Unapologetically, the whole world is watching. The energy is moving, and each stride forward is a message. You've arrived. There is a calm power in individuals who have looked within, demolishing illusions and reconstructing themselves from the ground up. This confidence is not a ruse, nor is it a desire for attention. It is a deep-rooted confidence that does not need confirmation. It is not about wielding control over others, but about standing steadfast in one's own value. Some people will appreciate it regardless of extraneous noise. Others may be bothered by it, but none will ignore it. What pulls people in is not a desire to be noticed, but the easy gravity of someone who has accepted their reality. There is no longer a need to shrink to fit in or make space smaller. Existing totally and without doubt becomes second nature. As a result, others are motivated to follow suit. However, this transition is more than simply self-assurance. It is an inward metamorphosis that manifests itself externally. The energy one carries after healing cannot be coerced or disguised. It is the warmth of a heart that is no longer protected by old wounds. It has been felt before. It is known and perceived before it is recognized. There was a time when the world's neglect caused wounds. Love was conditional and patience was uncommon. Those voids have now been filled from inside by a tremendous caring that spills, reaching everything and everyone effortlessly. The way one walks, listens, and talks conveys an unconscious knowledge, a depth that cannot be taught. Only acquired power and gentleness coexist. Through that equilibrium, something unshakable arises. The past has not broken. It polished what was originally seen as a battle into wisdom, and what was once lost has been transformed into a quiet, irrefutable force. The world observes the warmth, tranquility, and self-assurance. If you feel the abundance of divine love in your heart, now is the time to share it. You can help spread God's blessings by clicking the super thank you button on YouTube and contributing $20 or more. However, few people acknowledge the challenges that shape them, the individual moments of reckoning, the options for releasing what no longer belonged, unwavering devotion to progress. They see the finished product, but not the innumerable brushstrokes of perseverance that formed it. And this light, this presence, cannot be created. It is the brightness of someone who has explored their own depths and emerged with clarity. It is the mark of someone who has stood on the verge of capitulation or resistance, choosing the route that leads to their own emancipation. No applause is required. No external permission is necessary. The energy speaks for itself. A serene, unshaken understanding that is both unique and memorable. Life used to seem like an echo of something far away, as if existence was about surviving rather than being present. That was the version that questioned, paused, and accepted less. No longer exists. The weight has been lifted. The storm has gone. And what remains is not simply a survivor, but someone new. Someone who isn't scared to shine. Without permission, you are the light of the planet. A city on a hill can't be concealed. Matthew 514. There is something unmistakable about how you walk around the world. Now, like a lighthouse holding fast against the sea, your presence is a beacon, unwavering, and difficult to overlook. You didn't get this far by mistake. You were picked for this time, for this elevation, for this season of plenty. The ascent was not easy, but you were not designed for ease. You were created for greatness. And now that you're on higher ground, There's no going back, no shrinking, no returning to the darkness that once threatened to grab you. You did not rise for praise, recognition, or acceptance from people who had never actually seen you. You rose because it was written for you to do so. A calling on your life was never supposed to be minor. The energy you're carrying right now is neither pushed or produced. It is the peaceful assurance of someone who has done the work, fought battles in silence, sacrificed what needed to be released, and has repeatedly chosen to live by faith rather than fear. This is not about striving to be noticed. You don't need to compete for attention when you're the one who changes the atmosphere. It's not about prestige, honors, or proving anything to someone. It's about the unwavering belief that you belong wherever you choose to stand. Whatever area you choose to occupy, love no longer seems like something to strive for. It has found you now. It is drawn to you because you have done what many others are frightened to do. You've invested in yourself first. You've repaired the scars that previously made you doubt your value. You've stopped begging for breadcrumbs and begun dining at a table that was always intended for you. And now only those who perceive your brightness and appreciate the depth of your soul are permitted to enter your area. If your heart is overflowing with God's blessings, let that love radiate. Click the super thank you button and donate $20 or more to sow seeds of faith that will change countless lives. Your giving exemplifies His richness. Be a channel for His grace and watch His kingdom grow through you. The past, it is no longer something you carry. It is something you have surpassed. Relationships that sapped you, situations that left you feeling hollow, the locations that made you shrink. No one has access to this version of you. The standard has been increased. The door has been closed. The weight is gone. And this is the reality. Not everyone will adore this version of you. Some will stare in bewilderment, wondering how you keep rising, how you keep receiving outside, keep opening. But they don't realize that this isn't luck. This isn't a chance. This is alignment. This is the outcome of choosing faith over fear, of believing in what has already been written for you, of no longer attempting to push what was never intended to fit. They don't need to comprehend it. You get it. And that's all. Your current energy reflects the inner labor, discipline, healing, and divine favor that has always been with you. Walk confidently in it. Stand tall in it. Don't dim it only to make people comfortable. The appropriate individuals will experience it. As a result, the correct doors will open and possibilities will flow freely towards you. If you feel the abundance of divine love in your heart, now is the time to share it. You can help spread God's blessings by clicking the super thank you button on YouTube and contributing $20 or more. This is your season, and nothing can halt what is already in motion. Something significant occurs. When self-respect becomes non-negotiable, there is no more room for empty encounters and no tolerance for ties that need you to shrink. Walking away is not a form of defiance. It is an act of preservation. Love is not intended to be an uphill fight, nor does it need the surrender of self. When that knowledge hit, everything changed. The desire to seek was replaced with the power to attract. Only those who connect with truth and depth will find their way to you. The way the world reacts to you has transformed. Some are lured in and unable to look away. Others retreated, uncomfortable with a presence that no longer bends for approval. That is the energy of genuine self-love. It does more than simply turn heads. It changes energy. It is more than simply something seen. It is something sensed. Those who are unable to equal it will silently fade, creating room for those who can. Whether it's a progression in an existing connection, the advent of something new, or the everlasting satisfaction with oneself, one thing is certain: the days of settling are ended. The love that is intended for you would never ask you to be less than you are. Those who dread your light were never intended to remain. Thus, if the sun sets you free, you will be free. Yes, said John 8:36. There was a moment when the weight seemed insurmountable, when every step forward was met with resistance, when burdens never intended for you were shackles wrapped so tightly around your spirit that you nearly thought they were yours to bear. But that season is done. The chains are broken. The The jail doors have been thrown open, and now you're walking out, not simply surviving, but walking freely like a bird that has spent too long in a cage. There was a time when flying seemed strange. You'd spent so many years navigating through grief, disappointment, and cycles that attempted to persuade you that struggle was a normal part of life. But something changed. A supernatural insight, an unshakable truth, has settled into your soul. You were never designed to be shackled. So you accomplished something that few people had the bravery to do. You confront the suffering rather than fleeing from it. You confronted the past, the betrayals, and the scars that had previously defined you. And you refused to give them the ultimate word. You destroyed the stories that taught you that love had to suffer, that security was something you had to acquire, and that your value was determined by others' acceptance. You grabbed back your pen and rewrote the tale. Your tale. And it's now difficult to disguise that metamorphosis. It's in the way you move, light and unburdened. It's in the peace emanating from you. If you feel the abundance of divine love in your heart, now is the time to share it. You can help spread God's blessings by clicking the super thank you button on YouTube and contributing $20 or more. Undeniable. Unshaken. What used to provoke you is no longer effective. What was once drained? You can't even touch me. You no longer respond. You reply with knowledge, insight, and the conviction that comes only from genuine recovery. Because it's not simply about moving on. It is about rising up. Growth was never a gentle process. Before you can start constructing, you must first pull everything down. Before accepting the truth, we must first unlearn. It is not just letting go of the past. It's about letting it go, breaking free from it, and refusing to let it define who you are anymore. You've taken on the role of protector, advocate, and source of protection for yourself, giving your younger self something no one else could. Because of this, everything has altered. The shackles that once bound you have become dust. The cycles that trap you have no grasp. The version of you who battled to believe in brighter days no longer exists. You are here completely, freely, and unashamedly, going forth without doubt. People will notice. Some may not comprehend how you came to have this level of calm, independence, and power over your own life. They'll marvel how you shattered patterns that were impenetrable, how you let go of things they thought were forever. But they don't have to comprehend. This quest was never about comprehending. It was about your liberty. So, move ahead. Walk boldly, head held high. You are no longer defined by your history or the weight you carried. You've broken free, and there's no going back. This was not an overnight epiphany. There were periods of profound doubt, days when the burden of mending seemed greater than the wounds themselves. But quitting was not an option. You braved the stillness, the unraveling, and the discomfort of becoming someone new. As a result, you now hold a position of authority that is beyond the reach of the doubts that formerly plagued you. The cycle of pain is over. Self-sabotage, unhealthy attachments. The desire for external approval is no longer relevant in your universe. The transformation is evident. People perceive it even if they can't articulate it. Some are attracted to it, hoping to discover the source of your power. Others recede, disturbed by a version of you that they can no longer control. However, this adventure was never about them. This reclaiming has always been yours. Tolerating anything that devalues you is no longer an option. A new era of plenty is emerging, and this time, there is no reluctance in accepting it. The transformation isn't merely external. It is a rewiring of beliefs, a total shift away from the scarcity attitude that previously held possibilities at a distance. Money no longer determines stress and survival. It is now a resource for growth, security, and fulfillment. Financial limits that formerly existed are vanishing. Debts are being cleared. Opportunities are developing. New possibilities of income are developing. Everything aligns with the vision you've created. What previously seemed beyond of grasp now seems easy. Stepping inside it seems natural. However, this is about more than simply riches. It is about understanding one's actual value. The old tendencies of settling, accepting less, and enduring depletion have disappeared. Work, relationships, and opportunities are now seen through a new lens, emphasizing energy, harmony, and satisfaction. The definition of success has changed. It is no longer about constant effort, but about deliberateness. There is no celebration of suffering, nor is there any guilt in feeling comfort. The luxury formerly admired from afar are no longer abstract. They are becoming a reality, and most importantly, recognition is no longer sought via material possessions. The worry of getting the subconscious concept that struggle equals merit has been overcome. The flood of plenty has started, and it is being accepted without reservation. People take attention. Some will call it change, and they are correct. No longer bound by limits. No more accepting breadcrumbs. If you feel the abundance of divine love in your heart, now is the time to share it. You can help spread God's blessings by clicking the super thank you button on YouTube and contributing $20 or more. This is the perfect example of stepping into what was always intended to be yours. Unapologetic, unlimited, and enormous. For I know the plans I have for you, says the Lord, plans to prosper rather than harm you, plans to provide you a future and hope. Jeremiah 29 verse 11. There was a time when relationships seemed weighty, when every relationship took too much work, when love seemed just beyond of grasp. But that season is done. You are entering a period of divine alignment in which the correct individuals are coming, not by chance, but by purpose. Like a garden in full bloom, your energy is attracting beings who will nurture, elevate, and enrich your existence. These fresh faces are not here to drain you, exploit you, or make you doubt your value. They see you and approach with their hands full, eager to pour into you as you have done for others for so long. And love is finding you in unexpected ways, not through pursuing, nor through settling, but only by receiving. Someone is approaching you with a different vibe than you've ever felt. They are not frightened by your might. They are not rattled by your strength. They are not here to put you to the test, make you wonder where you stand, or keep you wondering. This is someone that understands precisely what they want, and they want you. No more games, no more uncertainty, and no more waiting for a love that only arrives halfway. This presence is distinctive. They move intentionally. They flow into you without hesitation. They don't just admire you. They cherish you. There is no scoreboard, no unbalance, and no need to overdo it to keep people engaged. They are attracted to you not because you are someone to strive after, but because you are someone to admire. Here's the beauty of it. You didn't need to look for this. You did not have to show yourself worthy of it. It is finding you because you have reached a level of totality that invites it in. The love you once desired, the relationships that once seemed unattainable, they now approach you with ease. This is what happens when you refuse to take less than what you deserve. This is what happens when you stop making excuses for people who can't meet you where you are. This is what occurs when you believe that whatever is intended for you will find its way to you, without effort, without coercion, and without pleading. So, be open, be ready. The doors are opening. The proper individuals are coming, and love is moving ahead in a pure, focused, and truly rewarding manner. Some may marvel how you are getting so many benefits, but they don't comprehend this. It was always intended to happen. God was not going to let you settle. The folks who abandoned you, the ones who didn't recognize your worth, the ones who made you doubt your worth, they were never intended to remain. They were only clearing space, creating room, and preparing you for others who would arrive. Correct. You are entering a season of love, connection, and comfortable connections, not because you are doing less, but because you are finally getting more. And this is just the beginning. The best is yet to come. And the beauty of it is that they arise after the quest has been completed, when satisfaction inside oneself has already become second nature. The meeting might be impromptu, a fleeting moment in an unexpected location, a setting you've never connected with, life-changing meetings, a vibrant area, a shared event, or a quick but electrifying discussion that changes the mood the instant it occurs. And when it does, you will know not by words, but by the undeniable energy of something that was always intended to find you. A relationship that is easy, transformational, and expanding in ways you never expected. The Lord directs a good man's ways, and he takes pleasure in them. Psalm 3723. A shift has occurred, and it is not an accident. Like a river that has finally been cleaned of debris, the flood of blessings, connections, and possibilities is now uninterrupted. Things that were formerly far, doors that were closed, and love that felt just out of reach. Everything comes easily and naturally because you've entered heavenly alignment. For so long, there was opposition. The weight of the past, the old cycles, the misguided devotion to relationships that were never intended to stay. All of this kept you linked to a lesser reality than what was meant for you. But something has changed. You opted to let go, trust, and walk away from what no longer served you. And in that act of trust, you created space. You made place for what was supposed to come into your life. And now it is occurring. The individuals who have shown up are not here to steal from you. They're here to flow into you. Love arrives unconditionally. It is anchored, safe, and stable. The support that surrounds you is not fleeting. It is strong, steadfast, and in line with the future that has been put before you. This isn't luck. This is not arbitrary. Here's what happens when obedience meets divine timing. Some people will be perplexed by how everything seems to be going your way. They will wonder why the benefits seem to be growing, why you continue to get chances that others have been pursuing for years, but they will not see the battles you battled. They do not see the sacrifices, moments of seclusion, nights spent choosing faith over fear. They don't grasp that. What is occurring today is just the harvest of seed sowed in faith many years ago. And that is all that is expected of you. Now, keep open. Stay ready. Do not dispute the goodness that is coming toward you. Don't be surprised when doors open in front of you. Do not hesitate. Love finds you in unexpected ways. What is destined for you will arrive not as a test or a passing event, but as a permanent change in the course of your life. This is not a season for chasing. This is the season of receiving. This is what occurs when you trust. When you believe, you will not accept anything less than what has been written for you. You no longer carry the past with you. It is something you have conquered. The challenges that formerly defined you are now just stepping stones to something bigger. If you feel the abundance of divine love in your heart, now is the time to share it. You can help spread God's blessings by clicking the super thank you button on YouTube and contributing $20 or more. This development is tough to ignore. The traditional triggers have lost their grasp, as have the emotional ties. Others, once pulled, can no longer reach. Deeper knowledge has taken hold, enhancing intuition and making discernment second nature. Situations were previously muddled by wishful thinking. Stand exposed for who they actually are. This clarity has strengthened boundaries, maintained serenity, and created a calm that others may feel but do not always comprehend. There is a calm power in no longer requiring validation, explanation, or justification. By surrendering the demand for closure from people who can never provide it, the past becomes a source of learning, a collection of lessons rather than wounds. The illusions have vanished, and formerly cherished events may now be viewed for what they are. There's no waiting. There's no use in wishing for results that were never going to happen. True liberation has developed from this distance. This newfound clarity has created space for something much more powerful, an unshakable belief in oneself. No more looking outside for solutions. No more second-guessing. The internal knowledge has always been present. If anything does not fit, it is left behind without remorse. If something brings delight, it is thoroughly accepted. Outside viewpoints have fallen into irrelevance, replaced by a firm confidence in own direction. That level of clarity is uncommon, and those who work via uncertainty or deception immediately understand that they can no longer affect this route. People sense the difference. They may not be able to identify it, but they do sense that energy is no longer squandered on diversions. Some may appreciate it, lured in by the unshakable presence of someone who has completely embraced their own authority. Others will feel uncomfortable in the presence of someone who no longer bends for approval. But none of this matters. This trip was never about their responses. It has always been about embracing the wholeness of what was supposed to be. Everything has led up to this point, in which clarity, confidence, and freedom are second nature. The burden of the past has been lifted, and moving ahead now seems natural. This isn't just another chapter. It marks the turning point of a voyage. After all of the change, healing, and hard-fought battles, it's time to enjoy the richness of life, no longer in survival mode, but flourishing. Laughter flows more easily. Joy comes without opposition, and life unfolds in a pace that seems natural, broad, and perfectly in tune. The energy conveyed today is magnetic, attracting the perfect people, opportunities, and experiences to fit this new reality. Others may notice the change, even if they cannot describe it. They witness the assurance, the conviction, and the deliberateness with which each step forward is taken. Once upon a time, there was reluctance, a shrinking of self to fit the comforts of others. However, that version no longer exists. It is no longer necessary to soften or dull edges in order to be understood. This light now glows because it is intrinsic, meaning it belongs here. While some may be motivated, others will struggle to accept that they can no longer return to the past they once knew. But it's not about them. It never was. Standing here, there is nothing more to prove. Only a few seconds to hug. Life is rising to match the energy that is being put into it. The more room that is created for pleasure, the more it grows. The more this new reality is recognized, the more reasons to rejoice. The world is no longer just watching from a distance. It's reacting, reflecting on all of the work that has been completed, the progress that has occurred, and the power that is now completely possessed. The door has closed on the doubts, cycles, and tales that seemed hard to overcome. They have no place in this world anymore. This is a whole new period, one in which identity is no longer linked to previous hardships, but rather to the limitless possibilities of what lies ahead. Nothing in this is transitory. Abundance, affection, and endless prospects. None of this is a coincidence. It is a direct result of deciding to climb, deciding to let go, choosing to truly embrace what has always been waiting. The only thing left to do is continue ahead without hesitation, apology, or explanation. There is nothing left worth returning to. If you feel the abundance of divine love in your heart, now is the time to share it. You can help spread God's blessings by clicking the super thank you button on YouTube and contributing $20 or more. The world is not just waiting. It is ready. And the only thing left to do is rise and confront it.